Hi, folks. My name is Girish Bali, the host for Back to Basics, another Back to Basics for another week. Today, we're going to talk to Gopi Shoemaker, but then the website actually says Gopi Gita. Well, we'll figure that out when we get onto the episode today. But what we're going to be talking to you about is leadership parenting. What is leadership parenting? I mean, when we use the word leadership, we think of business aspect as to are you going to be a leader or are you going to be a follower? And there are other episodes like that when I've covered that. But when it comes to parenting, I've also covered that how do we teach our kids when it comes to skills, when it comes to behavior, when it comes to challenges, right? So today, now we're combining two words, leadership and parenting together, and that's where this whole episode is all about. And we're going to speak with our guest today, and I've watched her YouTubes and I've watched her Instagram handlings, and it's really amazing. She's also going to be sending a book to me, so I will be very excited to go and read that book and try to understand. And obviously, if you guys are following on me on Instagram, you will see some of the books that I have recommended, and this will be also one of them as soon as I get that book. So, guys, let's go and speak with our guest today, and let's enjoy the chit chat with Gopi Gita or Gopi Shoemaker. You figure that out when we get on this call today. I'll talk to you then. Hi, folks. My name is Girish Bali, the host for Back to Basics. Now, you have listened to the intro of this episode. I'm very, very excited for the guest to come here, and you figure out, as I said, what name to call her. So let's get her on the show, and let's talk to Mother Gopi, or I should say Gopi Shoemaker. So we'll figure that out. So how are you? And thank you for coming to Back to Basics.
Thank you, Girish Bali. So nice to meet with you. So nice to talk to you. So I'm Mother Gopi Gita. My legal name is Gopi Shomaker, but y'all can call me Mother Gopi Gita as that's my author name and what all of my students and the parents and teachers that I work with call me.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you again, Mother Gopi Gita, for coming on the show. Before we start the whole topic for today, very excited, by the way, about the topic. What does back to basic mean to you?
Back to the basics means weeding through all of the stress in our lives and going real deep internally and identifying who are you, why are you here, and what is your purpose in every one of your activities. That's what back to the basics means for me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for answering that question, and thank you again for coming on the show.
Mhm.
So, let me ask you this. Um, let's talk about a history of you, of who you are, if you don't mind, because that would kind of define how we got here with your book and how we got here on the show. So, what is your history, and what do you do or did back in before this whole thing started?
Yeah, absolutely. I loved also hearing a bit about your history, and so I'm honored to share mine. I was raised in North America, born in Chicago, and spent quite a few of my years in the big cities around the United States, really living an unusual lifestyle as the daughter of a missionary, as the daughter of a priest. So I was raised in temples and temple schools my entire childhood and went to public school for a few years, did some homeschooling, kind of did a bit of everything in the 70s and the 80s, hippie era. And I learned a lot from the bhakti literature that I studied as a child. And it also began my career in education when I hit my teen and, young youth age. So adulthood.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for answering that question. And I did not know that, so it's great to understand who you are when it comes to the history side of things from your family side of things. So, when you started this book, which is called Leadership Parenting, and I said on the intro, they're two different words, aren't they, when it comes to leadership and when it comes to parenting. So now the question is that Was there a system broken? Was there a gap that you felt that it needed some education and some knowledge to spread out? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, absolutely. Girish, you know how you just told me the story of how you started your podcast and it started with like major challenge, someone rejecting you in a very harsh way, and that created this very successful podcast, top 10 of Asian podcasts in North America, which is so exciting to hear. Similarly, leadership parenting was born. Leadership parenting is I am the vice principal of a private school in Dallas and the regional secretary of the Ministry of Education for an international society. So, in the past 25 years, I have worked with thousands of children, parents, and teachers, coached parents, provided parent workshops. And I found during the pandemic, and it's still continuing, we still find our teenagers, our 3 year olds, our 6 year olds across the board, not just in our school, really struggling with their social skills, their social dynamics, their friendships, just so much more drama, Girish. You might have experienced that in your own life. Those of you who are listening may have experienced that. And that was really heartbreaking to have to tell a 3 year old, stay away, don't come close, don't give hugs to your friends. So during the pandemic, I had had the initial desire to write this book for almost 10 years.
Mm.
In my introduction, I talk about different versions of it, telling my best friend how to parent and like ruining my friendship with her. But this book was born because of the social dynamics, the obstacles that we've all faced, that our children have faced. And whenever there is an obstacle, a very deep obstacle, that is the catalyst for incredible change, as you have experienced in your own life. And so, what is the opposite of broken friendships? It's collaboratively working together to achieve a common goal. And that's what leadership is. As a parent, as a mom or a dad working with children, knowing how to work with them to not only develop strong bonds of friendships, but really knowing how to step into the next level of one's identity, working together in teamwork, collaborative spaces, and empowering change in the world. So that's what leadership parenting is all about.
Wow, amazing, amazing. But thank you again for explaining that whole detail as to how this whole thing started for you. But let me step back a little, if you don't mind. You know,
Go ahead.
the way you were explaining it sounded like before this whole pandemic started, we had a challenge with technology and how kids react and not talk too much, or when they're texting each other and they're not talking too much, right? So, do you think we've been struggling this for the longest time besides the pandemic that we went through or going
Oh,
through?
yeah. You know, technology also has its purposes. Everything in this world can be seen with a positive light or a negative light. So
Mm,
technology has changed our world, made major medical advances, scientific advances. But at the same time, there's the flip side, there's the dark side, so to speak. And the dark side definitely is that our kids need to get out, they need to talk to each other, they need to work with each other, they need to. I just told a group of kids last week, hey, if you're in a fight, the worst way to resolve that fight is through a Snapchat. Like, get on the phone and talk to each other. Even better yet, drive over to your home and discuss it. If you need help, I'm here to help you. But definitely, technology is a challenge for many parents. How to get your kids off those screens, how to get them interested in other activities. Absolutely.
yeah, thank you so much. So, can you tell me the top three issues that people they come to you, parents they come to you that they're struggling with that you think that it's a big issue?
The top first challenge is, how do I get my kid to listen to my instructions and to want to do what I want them to do? The second one is how to get my kid, especially through this pandemic. Through the pandemic, the top one was friendship trauma. My child's struggling in school because of their friends, because they can't connect with others, because they're insecure, they don't have confidence, they don't know how to stand out. That's the second one. And the third one is, regardless of your heritage, regardless of your culture, how do I get my child to understand the roots of where they come from? For
Mm.
Christians, Jewish moms and dads, for African moms and dads. I've coached many parents, and how do I get my child to embrace their roots, embrace their heritage? And so that's the third one that I would say. So yeah.
So these three, thank you so much, by the way. So these three things that you mentioned, is there a certain tool that you think that we should use, or do we just regular, just back in the old days, talk to your kid and make them understand that this is the right way or this is the wrong way? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, that's why my whole book is written, Girish. I'm so excited to share that. The ancient tools, the ancient strategies from ancient India present a really, really deep, meditative way to reconnect those things broken in your child, no matter what the issue may be.
Mm,
And we go back to the basics, as you said, back to the roots. There are three intrinsic needs of a child. And this presented in chapter 4, and it goes hand in hand with Maslow's hierarchy, with Eric Erickson's psychology stages, with the self determination philosophy. And those three core needs are, it's a Sanskrit term. So, for, of course, I think there are many East Asians listening to you, so they probably already know Sanskrit. Sambandha, which is the first core need, and that's the core need of belonging and connection. And that's a lower level tier on Maslow's hierarchy. The second one is abhideya. Abhideya is the core need of free will and agency. That I am here, I'm meant for a purpose, I can do what I need to do, and I know what that is.
mm,
And the last one is the core need of prayojana, and that is like the top level tier of Maslow's hierarchy. And self determination philosophy also has some similar strands, and that's competence, completion, achievement, and a feeling of satisfaction.
yeah. Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much for that. And I did mention that, I'll be getting a book from you, but I think I got a copy earlier this
Yes.
afternoon. So thank you again for that, and I will start reading that when I get when I get the chance on that. But let me ask you this: when we tell our kids to do X, Y, and Z, okay, kids are gonna hate us. So does that mean that we're good parents because kids are gonna hate us, or are they gonna love us more by explaining that? So what are your thoughts
Uh,
on that?
so the way I'm going to ask that first is to find out, which I don't know yet about you. Do you have any kids of your own?
I do.
And how are you comfortable to tell me how old they are? And
I mean, they're fine. The one is in high school, the other is in middle school.
okay, and boys, girls.
One of each.
So as a dad, would you like your kids to hate you, or would you like your kids to love you?
Of course, we would love our kids to love us, right? But when we tell them to do something, they're gonna hate us at that moment, right?
So it doesn't have to automatically be like that. It doesn't have to be that you have to force your child to do something that they don't want to do. That goes completely against natural psychology of a human being. When a child is enjoying the task that they're doing, like think about you. You enjoy podcasting, no matter what somebody told you that it's not going to work, and you may not have been accepted in that space. But look at how, because you enjoy it, because it's your purpose to give wisdom to others, to give knowledge to others. That is your calling. And look at how successful you became because you enjoyed it. So the
Mm,
trick with navigating these three connections is to figure out how to connect with what your child's internal purpose is, and
mm,
give them instructions that are aligned with their purpose and your purpose. And it's a whole system, a whole process. It's actually pretty simple. It's using very common parenting strategies: empathic listening, blossoming the child, engaging them in modeling service, engaging in boundaries and consequences. Of course, there are plenty of times that we have to do things where the children won't like it, like have to curb them, how to stick them within their boundaries.
mm,
But if that's few and far between, then your connection with your child will be so great that they'll
mm.
start wanting to do the things that you wouldn't even imagine. And I work with parent clients. I'm a parent coach in the evening, and I work with parent clients, and it's amazing for me to hear them like, oh my God, they come to me with, my kid is so defiant, they won't listen to instructions, we're getting so disconnected, I feel like I'm constantly fighting my 12-year-old or my 6-year-old or my 17-year-old. And
Mm.
it's so beautiful that just through applying this philosophy in your life, through some simple meditation techniques, through understanding your child's core needs in every situation, hearing them and guiding them with love, that you can literally transform the entire dynamic.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much for that. I must have asked this question before, but I'm going to ask you in a different way. I know that you wrote this book for a purpose to help kids, right? But I'm pretty sure when people they write books, they come up with several different titles for the book. Was there several titles that you came up with till this title came up?
You know, I was working with the Difference Press, Dr. Angela Loria. She was my author incubator program.
Okay.
And it was a long process of working with her. And actually, her team is the one that coined the phrase leadership parenting after hearing my book proposal, my purpose, my. So, yeah, the leadership parenting arose pretty quickly, really early on in the stages of writing the book.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for answering that question. So, let me ask you this: is there a certain book besides your book? Is there any book that you are reading that it resonates with you? It has nothing to do with
Oh,
parenting or including parenting, or just any mystery book that you like that you're reading.
Oh, I love reading. Girish, I'm always reading. I'm like inhaling books. I love reading, mainly on Kindle. And right now I'm reading The War of Art
Okay.
um, by Stephen Pressfield. That's a
Mm.
pretty powerful book. You know, of course, there's the classics, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. There's Adele Faber's How to Talk So Kids Will Listen. I read that when I was 9 years old. Of course, Stephen Covey's books, but mainly The War of Art right now is something that I'm really working on. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for your insight on that. Now, there's a new segment in Back to Basics, which we have never done before, and it's a rapid question. If I ask you 4 to 5 words, what is the first thing comes in your mind? When I say routine, what is the first thing comes in your mind?
Dance.
Uh, Boundaries,
No.
comparison,
Competition.
challenge.
Love.
Okay. So these are the words that I have actually noticed that over and over again, no matter what it is about parenting, that these are the words that they're using nowadays, right? And you explained that beautifully, and it seems like those words might be somewhere in that book. I'm guessing.
Oh, wow. Routine, you said? Boundaries. What else did you say?
Um,
Challenge and comparisons.
yeah.
Yeah. Routines are, routine is such a blah word.
Okay. So
When it's presented,
what do you think it should be?
oh, children, Girish, children, I mean, all human beings are such vivacious personalities, so loved internally by the divine, by God, by whoever you want to call that eternal being up there. And children themselves are so precious. I have two boys. I have a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old. And every single moment that I've spent with them, every moment I've spent with all of the children in my care, the word routine, it kind of clouds the fresh eyes with which they see everything in the world.
Mm,
Children love to serve, they love to work, they love to help out, they love to make a mark on the world, as do every adult. And when we dumb them down with our intense need for obedience and submission, and let's make you do, like your first question to me was, how do I get, they're gonna hate me because I'm gonna force them to do something they don't want to do. When we have that negative outlook on raising our children, it turns their whole dynamic into one of struggle and challenge and the way you had said. And
mm.
so, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for answering that question. But before you leave today from the show, do you have any last words to all my Back to Basic listeners? And how was your journey on your Back to Basics show?
I love your energy. I love your colors. I love your fresh outlook on life. I love what you're doing. It's so powerful. And my last words are check out gopigita.com. And if you're a parent and you need to revitalize your parenting, if you need to, you know, establish a deeper connection with your kids so that they're not hating you and they're not hating their life, by the time they become teenagers, there are really, really simple strategies that you can implement, a simple philosophy that comes all the way from ancient India back to the basics for us. And go ahead and check that out and implement it. Contact me, call me, and I'm here to help.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show and making this brighter for me. I'm very honored for you to be here and explaining that I'm not a bad parent. I'm a good parent by doing all this stuff. And I think I'll be a better parent by listening to you and understanding your book. So thank you again for coming on the show.
You are deeply engrossed in your purpose, Girish, and experiencing incredible successes because you're aligned with who you are. And I'm so excited. You are what I would call a leadership parent, and I'm so excited for your children to be seeing that and to be following your footsteps and doing even greater things than you have done.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again for your kind words. Thank you. So, guys, we spoke with Mother Gopi Gita on this call today, and we talked about the basics of parenting, the basics of leadership. We also did talk about parents don't get hated, they get loved, right? So, here's a quote of the day from Back to Basics, and it's going to be aligned to what we were talking about earlier today. Here's the quote of the day. The quote of the day is, if you have never been hated by your kid or your child, you have never been a good parent, been a parent, right? So basically, we have really covered that as to we are loving parents, we are caring parents, and that's what we are. So, guys, as usual, as always, what do we always say at the end of the episode? Everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Guys, take care. God bless. See you next time on Back to Basics. Take care. Hi guys, thank you again for tuning in to Back to Basics and listening to the excellent episode that we had today with our guest. You know, with your love and support, we do need you to at least rate our show, review our show, because it does make us stronger day by day, week by week, as I usually say on my episodes. And there are 3 things in this episode that it makes a hit for me, which is the content, the guest, and definitely the host. So guys, take care, God bless, and remember, everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Guys, take care, God bless, and see you next time on Back to Basics.